Hey everybody, this is Jordan with Idaho Dreams Taxidermy and Nap Trick. Today I wanted to show you how I like to mount a set of antlers, a set of sheds that I found onto a natural skull, whether it's a dead head that you find and the horns are gone, or somebody shot something, cut the antlers off, left the skull, whatever the case may be. I think it looks better than the artificial ones. Just my preference. So today I wanted to show you how to do that. Since I can't be shed hunting, well, it could be, but it's pouring cats and dogs at home and probably raining in the or snowing in the mountains. So I thought we'd do a little shop work today. All right, so I got a deer here, and this bad boy's in pretty rough shape. It doesn't have a lot of damage as far as like pieces missing, but it's pretty loose. Like you can see this whole side wants to come off, the jaw's split, and if you flip it over and look at it, that whole thing wants to come off. So we're gonna fix that. And so I'm gonna Bondo up in here and then get that, you know, because it'll be a European mount, so you don't ever see that. So I'm gonna Bondo that, and then up in here, I'll probably do super glue up in here to get this all attached with super glue so you won't have to see it, and then I'll Bondo the bottom, and it should strengthen it a whole bunch. Here's the tools I'm gonna be, and then I've already got you can see these marks right here. I've got them marked. That's the middle of the pedicle, and I'll drill in. I have 3/16" metal rods here. I cut these at 3 inches long, so I'll put 1.5 inches in to the skull, and then 1.5 inches, and then 1.5 inches will be into the antler, and they'll be sticking out, you know, about like that. And then I'll drill in the antler. I use a drill bit that's just a little bit bigger than this, so I have a little bit of room to play. And then also when I mount it, I'll put Bondo inside of it and on the metal rod so that it really hardens up in there. Deer are a lot easier. They're not nearly as heavy, usually, the antlers, as like, say, an elk or a moose. So I got that, the Bondo hardener, the Bondo, some water, rags to clean up, gloves so I don't get Bondo all over me, and then the metal rods and drill bit, measuring tape to make sure I have that centered, and that's what we're gonna go with. So I will get things ready and show you how it's done. All right, well, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill these holes in, and then I can go ahead and put the super glue and the Bondo at about the same time. I want to put the Bondo in. I have about 3 to 4 minutes working time, but I also want to get the super glue in so everything's drying at the same time. Plus, when I put the Bondo in, I kind of want to spread the skull to fit the bottom apart so I can get the Bondo in the cracks and then hit the super glue. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to drill these holes. I marked 1.5 inches on my drill bit. That way it just saves time. All right, there's my mark on that. So we'll just go ahead and drill this bad boy in. Some of that stuff off my bit here. Kind of gives off a good smell, so be prepared for that. Okay, so I went into the brain cavity on that, so I don't need a full 1.5 inches, but that's not a big deal. You won't see it, so no biggie. Yeah, you can see the skull's trying to fall apart. All right, let's get this next one in there. Clean that again. All right, now, as you can see, that'll go into 1.5 inches. And then, like on a bigger set of antlers, if I needed to, where I drilled into the skull cavity, You probably can't see it, but there's a hole in there. You could pack that in with Bondo and then make it super strong. If you had, you know, big set of elk antlers or something like that going on, where it's just a deer, it won't be a big deal. We'll get Bondo on the pedicles and on the metal rod, and it won't move at all. I actually have an elk here that's hardening. I've done one side with Bondo, the other side's working, and so these are like 9-pound antlers or something like that. They're pretty heavy. I do a bigger size, 1/4 inch on the metal rod, but like on those you could drill all the way through and pack in the skull plate. We'll have a video coming soon of an elk where we do mount the sheds, but for now we're just going to work on this deer. All right, now we're drilled out. We're going to mix some Bondo up, and then we will get this thing structurally together. We'll sink these 2 metal rods in, and we'll let it dry, and then we'll mount the antlers tomorrow. Okay, guys, I decided I'd give you a little bit better angle of this skull so you can see it better. I would usually paint this. Like, the reason I didn't paint it first or get it all ready is because I probably will spill on it, you know, get maybe a little Bondo on it. So I decided I'd get it all ready and then get it clean and paint it up afterwards. So we're gonna go ahead and put the Bondo on. I got it mixed. Make sure you wear gloves. That stuff can be nasty, as you know. Let's get this going. All right, so first I'm gonna hit these. I got these marked at 1.5 inches. I'm just gonna go ahead and do these first. Get them out of the way. All right, there's one. We'll embed that in there. Okay, there's one. Let's get the other one. I moved the camera. I figured you guys didn't need to see my face the whole time. You might want to actually see what I'm doing, so that's why I moved the camera for you. All right, there's that one. Let's flip this bad boy over. Try to get right up in that crack. Probably only have about 2 minutes left. Don't want to get a lot on there yet. Again, if I get a little on this, I'm not that concerned about it because this is the bottom of the skull. You're never going to see it anyway. And I can sand it off. Okay, now like I said, I want to try to get that in place and this super glued at the same, pretty much the same time. So I'm going to try to work fast here. Get this piece super glued up here. Show you what I'm doing here. I'm just going to hit that edge. I'm on super glue. Where you at? There it is. Okay, that's good, and then I'll try to get this piece done at the same time as well. I'm getting a little bit on the skull itself, but I can clean that up. All right, super glue looks good. Now let's kind of push everything back together. I'll grab a paper towel and wipe this off real quick. All right, super glue is good. That skull looks good there. Looks good on the bottom. I'm going to clean a little bit of this Bondo off right now. This was actually a skull I found while shed hunting, and hold that tight together. Oops, I got glued together a little. yeah, anyway, this was a skull I found while shed hunting, and it's been there a long time. It actually had roots growing in it, so that's about it. Got everything mounted up here. I'm going to get some, I'm going to get a couple little clamps on this back side by the teeth here, and then wrap some stuff around that top there to get everything in position, but you can see it's still wanting to come apart. I got a little crack here. I'm going to fix these cracks. It's coming apart a little bit here and here too, and I will fix those with Epoxy Sculpt after this part's done. So, all right, so it's all clamped down. I got the clamps on the front, clamps on the back for the Bondo. Everything's pretty tight now, and I will just let that guy dry, and then tomorrow we will mount the antlers on here, and that will be how I mounted a set of sheds on a real deer skull. Okay guys, it's the next day. Everything's dried up. I'm gonna pop these clamps off. I got the horns today that we're gonna put on these sheds, or this skull. So we'll pop these off and then kind of see how these are gonna fit, and measure these, mark them, and then drill the holes in those and get them mounted on. So let's get to it. And that just fell. Anyway, you can see things are a lot sturdier today. These are sturdy. The skull's sturdy. So we're in pretty good shape here. I'm gonna actually not do the horns yet. I'll get them marked, and then I'm gonna paint this skull. I can't get it bleached. It's pretty dirty, so we're just gonna paint this one. So I actually will mark these and kind of pre-fit them, and then we will go ahead and paint this skull and then mount these in a little bit here. Let's just do that real quick. There you go. X marks the spot. We'll drill it out and we'll do some painting. I'm just going to go ahead and mark the other one. Okay, so the antlers are both marked. Now I'm going to just got them both marked. Now I'm going to test fit these kind of. I haven't drilled them out yet. I'm just going to kind of line them up and see how everything's looking, see if my angles are good. So we'll just kind of, this is about where they're going to go on, which looks pretty good. I'm more looking at my angle, so about straight into that, maybe a tiny bit of an angle. If I go straight, it'll be there. That actually looked pretty good. So I'm just going to try to keep that drill bit as straight as possible, right in on my mark, and yeah, we should be pretty dang good. So let's do it. Just gonna look at that again really quick. That looks pretty good. And there we go. Pretty stinking close. I don't know if you guys can see, I've got it pretty close. I'll have to fill in a little bit of that with Epoxy Sculpt. Or maybe I could sand that edge down a little, but I think it's going to be pretty good right where it's at. So take this just a hair deeper. You can see this one kind of dropped here, and I could sand this down a little bit if I want to get it a little tighter back there. So I'll either do that or add some Epoxy Sculpt. But let's get this other side drilled out and see how things are looking. Alright. Look at this side real quick. Kind of make sure these things are matched up good. Alright. Stick this on and get them close. That should be pretty dang good, so we'll try to drill that right on that. Alright, test her out. Alright, we'll check it now. Alright, that should be good. Drill out. Alright, let's check it out. Should be close. So yeah, you can see this one I'm going to have to sand a little bit because it didn't line up quite perfect. Maybe my angle was a little bit off. Might try to adjust that angle a little. First I'll look at it and see what I think. Alright, so that looks pretty good, really. I do think that angle's off a little bit. Trying to look at this, and this end kind of tips back a little more, so I'm going to try to tip this one back a little bit. Yeah, we're going to tip this one back a little. That's pretty close. Let's see. There we go. That should work good. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay guys, I got the Bondo mixed up. I couldn't find any paint, so I'm gonna mount these antlers first. I got my Bondo mix. I'm gonna go ahead and put these antlers on and see how she goes. So pay attention. All right, so I just go ahead and put some Bondo on this metal rod I've got. I try to put a little more on the end just to shove some up in the skull cap when I do it. And then I'll put some down here on the burr as well. Like that. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing on this side. This right antler is going to have a little bit more play in it. I had to make that hole a little bigger on it, so it'll have a little more play. I'll put a little in the Bondo. And just a little bit more in here on the skull if we can. All right, now that's about right. Let's drop a little bit. All right. Get this Bondo off my fingers real quick on the edge of this cup. Should have wore gloves, but I forgot. All right, now let's get this skull on there, or this antler on the skull. Okay, that one's pretty close. Go ahead and get this one on. All right, now I just gotta get them where I want them, and we should be in good shape. Which is about right there, I think. This may be the hardest part, is getting these so that they stay where I want them. See if I can get these set where I want them now. All right, so all right, that's where I'm going to put them. Now I just got to set these antlers and we'll be in good shape. Try to balance them up here. Took a little bit. I got it all set both sides. That's what I went with. That's probably the hardest part, is getting them balanced so that they harden, because they just want to spin on you. I think he looks pretty good. So I'll get him painted. We'll get him painted tomorrow and show you how I do that. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll show you. And then any touch-ups I have to do with the Epoxy Sculpt on the back of the pedicles, and then we'll get him done. This is a different deer here, as you can see. I forgot to show you guys how I like to put the Epoxy Sculpt and kind of blend the antlers to the skull that I attached. So I'm going to do that with this deer. I just finished bondoing this guy up. And I'll show you how I like to do that, and then I'll show you the finished product from the one I got done the other day. So let's dive right into this. All right, so this is the Epoxy Sculpt. It's a two-part sculpting clay, and it works really good. It's strong on the antlers. So you take 2 equal parts. About the same size. That looks pretty good. It should be enough for this job, so we're just going to call that good. All right, and then I like to have a water bottle close by because it does get kind of sticky. Plus, it's nice for when I smooth it around the antlers, the burrs. You notice I got these antlers all taped up. After I get this done and it gets hardened, we're going to paint this. And I found that if you don't cover up the antlers entirely, you get specks of paint on stuff. So that is why they are ready to go. We're all covered up, taped, and in plastic bags. And we'll show you that part. Not much to it for the painting part. Taping up, I just wrap it right around the burrs and try to cover up all the brown, and then you'll get a little of this paint underneath there, but a little bit on the bottom won't hurt, because as long as you got the brown covered up, you'd be good. All right, this is all mixed up now. I don't see any gray left in there, so we got it mixed good. And then I'll just start filling this in. I try to make it all nice and even and smooth and tapered, not abrupt. So like I want that about there, and we'll go ahead and smooth this out. You see I'm smoothing it up towards the burrs, down towards the skull. If you just stop it right there, and sometimes when it dries, you'll get like a, it'll kind of separate right there. And so I like to bring it down over the skull a little bit. We're going to paint it, so you're not going to ever notice it. Keep it nice and smooth and tapered. And if you do it good here, it saves you time at the end. You don't have to do much sanding. Get it nice and smooth now. And the sanding part's really easy because it doesn't exist. And so I'm just going to add a little bit right in here so that I don't get that separation. Just feather it down into the skull. Okay, now I'm going to flip it over. This might be a little harder for you to see. Alright, same thing, just add some Epoxy Sculpt. Then get it all tapered in there. Alright, now we start smoothing it on. You got some time with this Epoxy Sculpt. It's gets good and hard, but it definitely has a good working time too. You don't have to, not like Bondo where you have to fly through it. You can take your time and make it look pretty. Get a paper towel here. Just so I don't get a bunch of this when I get it wet to go down under the tape and get those antlers gray. Okay, that one's looking good. Rough spots so we can smooth out. All in all, that one's pretty good. Alright, let's hit this other side up and get it done. Looked like I was a little light right there on the amount of sculpt I have, so yeah, you can see this. You can see how there's kind of a line there where it separates, and if I don't blend that a little better, then when it dries, you'll be able, it'll be a little obvious. So I'm just going to add a little piece in there and blend it up into the antler a little bit better, so it's not such an abrupt edge. Same thing with the skull side. A little bit more right here. Not quite that much. Not like that. Looking pretty good on the back side here. Double check the front here. Oh yeah, you can see. Right here. Right here I need a little work. You can see that. Doesn't look perfect. We're gonna add a little sculpt. Turn this so you guys can see it, might be a little better. And then start smoothing her out. Smooth it down, onto the skull a little bit, up a little bit, wipe that off. Now I'm just gonna hit it with a bunch of water, just to make sure it's good and smooth going around there. And that's about it for that guy. All right. There you can see, smooth all the way around. A little bit right there, I need to smooth out still. Going up with that burr. Oh no, we're pretty good. I'm gonna add just a little there. The skull's kind of got a lump in it. Ah, down here again. There we go. Yeah, there's just a little lump in the skull itself, so I'm gonna absorb that into this. There we go. There, it's still in there somewhere. There we go. There you have it. All right, guys, final stage. I'm gonna hit it with some paint. There's really not much to it except to spray it. Shake up the spray paint. Make sure again, the antlers are good and taped. And we're gonna just hit this with spray paint. So watch and learn. And I hit the teeth and everything. We'll give it a couple coats. So this will just be the first one. That way if there's any spots we think we missed, we can hit them again. Hit the back. Eye sockets are always kind of a tricky spot to get to. I got Connor helping me. It's almost dinner time, but he wanted to help me do some painting. Alright, there's one coat. We'll do another one when it dries and get this thing done. Alright guys, I'm completely done with that deer. I just wanted to show you what the final thing looks like. If you look close at the burrs, everything looks pretty stinking good. Can hardly even tell. Pretty crazy. Turned out awesome. And I got my Idaho skull hook behind it. Kind of hard to see because it's the same color as the wood almost. Anyway, turned out pretty sweet. Hey everybody, I wanted to show you the final product of the other buck that we worked on during this video I made. There he is. Turned out pretty dang good. Good 4-point, fifth with the eye guards, and on the one side, the other side's kind of a crazy unique buck. Crazy set of horns there. Just show you kind of how he turned out. Give you a 270 view. Thanks for watching the video, and please like, subscribe, and comment. We'll catch up with you next time.